In the 18th verse of Psalm 34, the psalmist expresses, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Has your spirit ever been crushed? Have you ever felt that the walls of your circumstances are closing in so tightly, the outlook of your scenario so bleak, that you feel your options for moving forward in life and in any sort of freedom have completely run out? I have. In two distinctive seasons of my life, both after very hurtful heartbreaks, I found myself struggling to move forward. Movements that used to be simple and easy and even motivating, like getting out of bed in the morning to take on a new day, or opening the blinds in my home to let the daylight stream in, just getting dressed, or as a songwriter, showing up for writing appointments, making music, going for a jog or a long hike, meeting up with friends, and getting together with my community of close ones. All these things that were once a normal part of my living activities felt like monumental demands. Confronting my troublesome thoughts felt too harrowing of a task, and isolation felt like the only way of survival. It was during the first of these alone seasons that I discovered the beautiful comfort of this fellow songwriter's verses in Psalm 34. In fact, the translation of this verse I first read says it this way: when someone is hurting or brokenhearted, the Eternal moves in close and revives him in his pain. As I read that verse out loud over and over, and then began to recite it on repeat in my heart, and then challenged myself to rejoin the land of the living, what I began to learn was this: that there is no thought that goes through my mind and no pain that could pierce my heart, no trouble in my spirit that can remove me from the nearness of God. You, my friend, are not companionless in your darkness. Lean into the truth of this verse of comfort with me, that He is near and you are not alone.